Most people don't set goals, they inherit them. Like wearing a t-shirt that was tailored for someone else, and they continue to wonder why it feels tight in some places and loose in others. Inside you, there is a silent meeting happening. Your parents' expectations, society's timelines, your past failures taking minutes like board members, and your inner critic, the chairman of this meeting, always loud but never wise. So the goal is set. You need more money, more status, more validation, and you start running. But you know that something feels off. The mind says you need to push harder. The heart says, I don't even want this anymore. This isn't what I want. And the body whispers through fatigue, through stress, even illness at times. These are three different directions and one life. Three different voices in one system. Your system. Now, would you call that ambition? I would rather call it misalignment. It's like having three horses tied to one chariot and each running in its own different direction. No matter how strong they are, the chariot isn't going to move anywhere. Maybe what we can do better is give ourselves a pause. Before asking, how do I achieve this goal? Question yourself a more dangerous one. Whose goal is this? Because if the source is pressure, the journey will inevitably feel like punishment. History has shown this clearly. Empires that were expanded under pressure collapsed faster than they could rise. But movements born from the inner conviction could endure a lot more pain. A seed doesn't try to become a tree. It simply follows its own nature. And in that alignment, the growth is effortless. So the first step is awareness. Not strategy, not hustle, just pure awareness. Whose goal is this? Is it mine or is it a borrowed goal? Because the moment you see this clearly, what is yours and what is borrowed, you stop running blindly and you start walking consciously. After you have gotten the awareness, the next step would be to listen, not to the noise, but to the signal beneath that noise. Because once you see that many of your goals are borrowed, the next question is not, what should I do? Rather, the question becomes, what do I actually want? What do I actually want? It's a simple question, but it could be a very uncomfortable question because you have never asked yourself this one. The heart doesn't shout it, it whispers. And we are trained to hear only loud things, deadlines, comparisons, notifications, opinions of other people. So the whisper obviously gets buried. It's like tuning into an old radio. Too much static and you assume that there is no music. But the music has always been there. You have just not tuned into it. Most people don't lack clarity. They lack stillness. There is a beautiful pattern in life. Whatever you chase loudly moves away from you, runs away from you. And whatever you sit comfortably with, quietly, reveals itself. A man once searched for water across many villages. He walked miles and dug up holes everywhere. All those holes were shallow and he found nothing, but he was exhausted. He sat down. And right then, an old villager came towards him and smiled and said, if you had dug up deep enough in one place, you could have found a well. You would have made a well. That's the heart. Not scattered wants, but a deep, quieter knowing. So when you begin to listen, you'll notice something strange. Your real goals are not loud, they're not flashy or impressive. They're very, very simple things. Let's say to feel at peace, to create something meaningful, to belong, to love and be loved without any sort of performance or pretense. Now, these are not the kind of things that you post online on LinkedIn. This is something your nervous system celebrates. So, listening is not about adding more goals. It is about removing noise until what remains feels true. The right goal doesn't excite your ego first, it settles your system. That's the difference. And that's how you also know that you're finally hearing yourself, maybe for the first time. After you've done the awareness and you've listened to your system, the next step comes is integration. Because knowing what you want is not enough. Your system must agree with it. Your mind can say this is right, but if your heart feels heavy and your body feels tight, unable to move, you won't move. Or you will move and you'll sabotage everything. Now this is where most people get stuck. They say, I know what I want, but their actions don't follow. They just can't seem to be getting anywhere. Why? Because inside there is a conflict. It's like that same chariot with 3 horses. One wants to go forward, one wants to go back, and one wants to just lie down and eat grass. Tell me one thing. How far will that chariot go? Integration means all the 3 horses begin to move together in alignment in one direction. What that means is your thoughts support you, your emotions energize you, and your body feels safe enough to act. Only then movement becomes natural. There is a moment in Bhagavad Gita where Arjuna stands in confusion. Now he has the skills, he has the knowledge, he has all the weaponry, he also has a goal to win the battle, but he just cannot act. His hands are trembling, his mind is doubtful, and his heart is resisting, fighting his own cousins. Now what happens next is not strategy, it is pure alignment when he listens to his inner guru, Krishna. There is clarity in thought, there is calmness in his emotion, and the stability in his own being. And then action becomes inevitable, which was earlier impossible. This is integration. Not forcing yourself forward, but removing everything what is pulling you apart. Willpower is expensive, but alignment is efficient. When you're aligned, you don't motivate yourself every day. You don't need to motivate yourself every day. You just need honesty once. And suddenly, discipline feels like devotion. Effort feels like an expression, and progress feels peaceful. The chariot moves, not fast, but truly in the direction it needs to. Now, after that integration part, the next step comes is generative questioning. Because the quality of your life depends on the quality of your questions. When goals come from pressure, questions become heavy. How do I prove myself? What if I fail? What will people say? Where would I find these kind of people to get me to the goal? Now, these questions aren't opening any doors. They are just building walls and confining into a space. They shrink your thinking, as per the room size. They drain your energy and they make you play safe and small within the confinements. But when your goal is aligned, something powerful happens. The questions change. Not how do I impress, but how do I express myself better? Not how do I reach out to more people, but how do I touch more lives and more meaningfully? One that creates anxiety, the other creates possibility. A closed question is like a locked room. You keep walking in circles because you have to. An open question is like a window. Suddenly there is air, there is light, and there is direction. Now you talk about history, sports, business, everywhere you'll see this pattern coming up. When teams are losing, they panic. How will we survive this situation? How will we win? But when they shift even slightly, asking the question like, how do we play our game now? Energy returns. Creativity wakes up. Your brain is like a search engine. You ask poor questions, it gives you poor answers. Ask expansive questions, it reveals new pathways, new information, new insights. Don't just set better goals, ask better questions. Because questions are invisible architects. They design your thinking without you even noticing. And the right question doesn't just give you an answer. It transforms the one who is asking. That's when creativity is no longer efforted. It becomes a natural response to the way you see things. After you have asked all these generative questions, intelligent questions, next is the now state. Because our goal is not something you chase, it's something you practice. Most people live like this. Once I achieve this, I will feel more confident. I will feel more worthy. Once I reach there, then I would be able to relax better. But life doesn't work like that. You don't reach a state by postponing that state. A river doesn't have to wait to become the ocean to start flowing like one. It just flows now, fully. This is the shift from chasing the goal to embodying it. Not fake it till you make it. That feels like acting. This is different. This is alignment in the present moment. If your goal is to become a confident speaker, confidence is not at the end of the journey. It must enter your voice today. In small, imperfect ways. If your goal is meaningful relationships, don't wait to be understood. Start understanding right now. If your goal is impact, don't wait for a big platform. Touch one life deeply, right now. A sculptor doesn't start with the stone. He starts with a vision, an inner vision before. He sees the statue inside, and every strike, every blow of the hammer and the chisel follows that inner seeing. That's how you live as if. Not delusional, directional. Because your nervous system learns by experience, not by future promises or false promises. When you act from the now state, not towards your goal, something settles. The effort reduces, the resistance softens itself, and slowly your outer world begins to reflect what's inside you, the inside posture. And that is the paradox that most people don't know. You don't become successful and then feel aligned. You feel aligned and then success starts recognizing you. After having done that, the next step is evolution. Because goals are not destinations, they are devices, they are tools that shape you. While you think you're chasing something outside, most people treat goals like contracts. I must achieve this or I have failed. But life doesn't work on contracts, it works on evolution. You set a goal thinking, this will make me happy. You walk the path. And somewhere along the way, you change. Your awareness deepens, your priorities shift, your definition of success matures. And suddenly, the goal is no longer the point. You are. It's like climbing a mountain. At the base, you will always say that I want to reach at the top. But halfway climbing up, something happens, something magical. The air feels different. Your body adapts to this new environment. Your perspective expands. And you realize that the climb was not taking you to the mountain. It was introducing you to yourself. Now that is evolution. And the last step that you need to do in any sort of goal achievement is detachment. I'm not saying giving up, I'm not saying becoming careless, but holding the goal little lightly. Like holding sand in your hand. If you grip it too tight, it slips away from the gaps in your fingers. But if you hold it gently, it stays. When you're attached to your goals very closely, every delay feels like failure. Every obstacle feels very personal. And when you are detached, you stay committed, but you are not consumed. You can act fully, but your identity is not at stake. You're not losing your identity if these check marks are not met. And that freedom is powerful. Because now, even failure becomes the fuel. Even setbacks become your teachers. So set goals, but don't worship them. Work towards them, definitely, but don't lose your own self, your identity, while you're moving towards them. Real victory of any goal is not what you achieve in the end. It is who you become by the time you arrive. It transforms who you are. That's a good mission to have.